Good morning, everybody, and welcome into the Spotlight Omaha podcast, where we take you around the city of Omaha, introduce you to local business owners, influential figures, and people who are making an impact on our community. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Pixel Fire Marketing is a locally owned marketing firm who specializes in website design, creating social media ads, and engaging your brand online. If your business needs help with any of that, check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. Joining me inside the Pyramid Contractor studio today is Allie, John, and Adam Cassidy from Werner Trucking. Guys, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely.
Allie, let's start with you. When we say the phrase, we keep America moving, how big of a deal is it to help not just the Omaha area, but the country as a whole?
It's a huge deal when we really think about how, highlighted the industry was during COVID. That hasn't gone away. Drivers were doing that years ago. Through COVID, it was highlighted. And what I don't want to happen is that to be forgotten.
Sure.
We want to keep, the idea of the driver and the focus on the driver and how integral truck and highway traffic is to our supply chain, really moving every single day.
When we talk about hiring and adding people, and I'm sure there was a major spike in the prime of the pandemic, has that kind of tapered off? Is it still at an all-time high? How has that been handled?
It has tapered off a bit since pandemic,
Sure.
right? Especially in the economy that we're in today. It's no secret that people are, buying less because the dollar goes not as far as it did even just a couple of years ago. We did see a high in the pandemic, and it's high in the pandemic.
Yeah, and is there anything that Werner took away from that time period that maybe wasn't implemented beforehand that has really benefited the company that you guys have been able to do post the pandemic?
It was awesome to see our society, our nation as a whole. We have always been great at recognizing our drivers, but our society as a whole really recognize the impact that a truck driver has, right? So I think back to the shutdowns when everybody was told to stay home. Our truck drivers showed up every day and delivered the freight, delivered the toilet paper, delivered the hand sanitizer that everyone was ordering online and expecting to have 12 hours later through Amazon Prime. So it was awesome to see the rest of the country get on board with what we've known since we were founded, that the truck driver really does keep America moving.
I want to talk about that for a second. 65 plus years of being in business. How has Werner adapted? Obviously, you guys both going on a decade, haven't been there for nearly 65 years, but how has Werner adapted over almost 7 decades to kind of stay at the top of the industry?
So we are big believers in technology, right? There's a lot of modern tech that goes into the tractor trailer of today. So we were one of the first, if not the first, to move to electronic logging devices inside of our cabs. We have more miles on electronic logging devices than anybody else. And that's because we believe in tech helping our drivers with their jobs. And now that's an industry regulation that we helped on be the front runners for. So we've been doing that since early 90s. And that finally became regulation in late 2010s. So we absolutely want to have latest and greatest tech. We're very proud of our fleet. Our average age of truck is just at 2 years old, and our trailers are, I think, just at 5 years old. So we have a very, very modern fleet, which drivers love, right? Who doesn't love getting into a new vehicle? So just making sure that we're committed to providing best in class on everything for our drivers so that they can provide best in class customer service.
Allie, it's kind of hard to see an event going on around Omaha without a Werner symbol next to it, especially if it's for a great cause. We just, on my radio show last night, talked to the folks from Sammy Strong. They're getting ready to do their home run derby at Werner Park, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why is it such a big deal for Werner to give back to the Omaha community?
Omaha's where we live. It's where our Omaha associates, our highest, density population, live, work, play, and it's important to make sure that we, as a large organization, are exposed for the people who are supporting those in their own personal capacity. If you're personally giving $15, it's really cool to see your organization also supporting an organization that's important to you.
That's really in our DNA too. Our founder has been generous from the beginning, right? We've been from this area since we were founded almost 70 years ago, and CL Werner from the get-go has believed in giving back, and that's really baked into our DNA as a company.
When we talk about 2,125 drivers who've driven over 1 million miles without an accident, what training goes into place for a driver to make sure they're staying safe at that high and that efficient of a level?
Yep. So we're very proud of that number. It's a little bit higher than that today, but
Need to update the website.
Yeah, will do. A large portion of that number came to us as brand new to the industry. So we were able to take them through our skills enhancement program, the career track program, where they come in day one without experience. They're a licensed CDL driver, but without truck driving experience. We put them out with one of our leaders that shows them the ropes, if you will. And then they have been able to go on and achieve over 1 million safe miles. 1 million safe miles takes about a decade. So 70% approximately of that 2,200 drivers that have achieved 1 million or more in our history came to us without industry experience. So that really is a testament to when our leaders take our brand new to the industry drivers out. We have a set curriculum, and we go through whether it's backing or coupling or, hey, this is how we do customer service at Werner. Walk them through a day in the life. And make sure they understand expectations and how to do what we do safely. And when you're driving 2 to 3 million miles per business day, it's an impressive thing to see.
And obviously, accidents are unavoidable. We're talking about other people being involved. It's just a part of being out on the road, right? When something does unfortunately happen, what does the process at Werner look like to make sure, A, the driver's safe, and B, that they're able to get back on the road and move their shipment?
Yep. So we absolutely, you hit the nail on the head. The first thing is making sure everybody's okay. So we have a process built in place that we get it reported. Obviously, if authorities need to be called, authorities need to be called. Drivers typically handle that on the spot in the moment, take care of ourselves, but also any other vehicle involved. And then if we need to contact the customer and say, hey, had an incident, we're going to be late. That absolutely happens as well. But ultimately, with the density that we have in the market, ideally we can pick up if we need to with another truck and get that freight delivered on time with other assets.
I can't help but notice at the middle of the homepage of your guys' website, there's an active call to help the prevention of human trafficking. Where does that come from? And what does that campaign look like?
Yeah. So it's really an industry-wide effort. We are intimately involved with an organization called Truckers Against Trafficking. And as most of our associates are professional drivers, they're uniquely suited to, if you see something, say something, right? So there's a hotline, and we do a lot of education every year. We actually just recently committed ourselves to doubling our level of education in human trafficking. Because of the number of miles that we drive every day, we simply see the at-risk and report it, and that's how trafficking is ended.
Right.
Obviously, there's a demand issue that still needs to be addressed, but dealing with it in the moment and getting it reported, there's stories that are out there where a simple phone call of, I think this looked funny, leads to a woman being saved from a trafficking story.
Is it as simple as we're out on the road this much, we're going to see it more than anybody else, and we feel like it's our civil duty to make sure this is being done?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's incredible. We're catching up with Adam Cassidy and Allie John from Werner Enterprises here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside of the Pyramid Contractor Studio. Allie, for you, I mean, you deal with the big picture stuff going on in Omaha as far as fundraising and things like that. Are there any events coming up on the calendar that you're specifically excited about?
Ooh, great question. You know, we have so many different events. I don't know that I can pinpoint just one of them right now. I think, you know, you do so many. My brain is just blanking on
So
one upcoming.
Let's talk transportation forum, which we just wrapped.
Yeah.
Right. So large gathering of customers and partners, and every year that's tied to giving back to local and national communities as well. And you've seen some of that benefit in years past. That's a strong history.
Yeah, obviously we have a huge connection to the United Way, and we will do our United Way campaign in October, which includes everything from associates being able to participate in raffles and competitions and different department level challenges. And last year, United Way campaign raised over $235,000 that went to both our terminal networks that participated in the campaign and obviously United Way, the Midlands here in Omaha.
Any particular reason United Way?
It's always been United Way.
Sure.
United Way does a great job of vetting where their funds go, and they do an excellent job of distributing funds to varieties of organizations that
and they're very transparent about it too.
Yes, and they help kids, they help adults, they help the elderly, and they don't the funds, there's no one place.
Yeah.
But that's
They're
what I love
equally
about
divided.
United Way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Adam, I want to talk to you about the what you do at Werner with veterans. Obviously, we made this connection through the 50-mile march folks and working with those guys and Jay Morales. You're a veteran yourself. You served in the Air Force. Why is it a big deal for you to give back to veterans?
So having served, I think, is where I get that calling from personally. I've seen when it goes right, and I've seen when it goes wrong, when we transition and when we come home from war. And Werner's 18% veteran. We're very, very proud of the number of associates that have served. So it's, again, in our DNA to care for those that have served.
That a big deal to you personally?
It is, yes. It's what brought me to Werner. I'm a Omaha transplant. My wife is from Stanton, Nebraska. I never thought that I would live in Nebraska.
Were you surprised with the limited amount of cornfields there were in Omaha?
So getting married here, all of my friends texted me because we got married in Stanton. So you drive by 2 hours of cornfield. So I was getting random weird text messages about corn as everybody traveled in for the wedding, which is a funny memory. But when we moved back for my wife's job, and I had, 3 or 4 weeks in my basement looking for a job.
Yeah.
And Werner kept hitting all of the check marks, right? When you're looking for a new employer, and largely it was because of their support of the military.
Nowadays, whenever we see a job application, there is that box if you're a veteran or a disabled veteran. And when somebody that is a former military member that served that's applying at Werner, what does that process look like?
Yep. So we have several different avenues, right? We have office associates, we have drivers, we have a whole IT department, we have HR, we have all the normal things that make a business run. And it really depends on where that individual wants to come into the organization at. I came into the office as a safety manager, but our drivers, we actually have an apprenticeship program. We were one of the first with the Department of Labor. This apprenticeship program allows our veterans to come to us with their GI Bill. They enter into a 6 to 9 to 12 month apprenticeship program. I think we actually go as long as 18 months.
Wow.
Depending upon length of GI Bill benefits. And they can come to us. We pay normal salary, and they're allowed, because they're in that learning environment still, to use their GI Bill benefits as well. So that gets them some extra income while they're coming to a new industry and learning a new industry, which is awesome. And we have a similar...
Very rare, too.
Yep. Similar for our maintenance techs, which are often unsung heroes in our industry. Similar apprenticeship program for our maintenance techs that have served, that want to start a new career.
I would like both, and maybe you already answered this with that answer, but I'd like both of your answers to this. And Allie, we'll start with you. If somebody is in the trucking industry, maybe looking to make an industry change, why should they choose Werner?
Ooh, so many reasons. You're going to get best-in-class equipment, safety features in that equipment. There's a very high average age when you get away from Werner on how old some of those trucks get. Just drive down the interstate, and you'll see lots of very out-of-date equipment. And that comes with maintenance costs. That's off the road time. That's a lot of, disadvantages to driving. And I think the people, for me, in the, HR space, I focus on people. But when I say the people at Werner Enterprises are the best people across the board, I have great experiences in my 7 years at the organization. And when we have those million-miler events, those million-mile drivers highlight their teams and the people that they interact with, and our leadership as really the reason, they were able to get those 2, 3, 4 million miles, which is amazing. And I pride myself on on saying that I work there and that the people there are fantastic and we really care. And, I get to work with this guy.
Adam, same question for you. We're looking for positives, by the way.
Hey now.
Good
No,
point.
so my answer is that second piece, right? We have industry leading everything. Pick your metric, best in class trucks like Allie mentioned, but it's the people through and through, right? So on a daily basis, I get to work with people that are just phenomenal. I went to a retirement ceremony for someone that I've worked with for the last 8 or 9 years, and he had 35 years at the company, and I started to think about, man, I wonder how many people actually have 35 years. And it was a room of
any
maybe
company.
25, and I started going through in my head of looking at who was in attendance and the number of people that have been there for 20 plus, and more than half of the people had been at the company for 20 plus, which is really a true testament to the people that we bring on stick around because we are a great company to work for. We work hard, very hard, but we also play hard, and we recognize our folks for the work that they do better than the military does, in my experience, better than I would imagine a lot of other companies do.
What are some of those events? What do they look like?
Recognition-wise?
Yep, for employees.
So we have a couple different avenues every year. So on the truck driving side, right, bread and butter, recognizing our drivers for the million-mile achievements.
Okay.
We have throughout the year several events that are focused on recognizing mileage achievements. And when a driver hits 1 million safe miles, right, so that's 10 years of being incident free. There's a package that comes along with that. Our drivers are afforded the opportunity to spec a truck with a few options that they'd like, whether that be certain color package, certain ribbon package, certain stuff on the inside. But then on the associate side, we also have our annual gala, which is where if we're peers at the company, I can put you in for an award, whether it's a safety award or a star award or anything along those lines. And you do a little write-up, and then every single one of those award nominations is celebrated at the gala, but then also we rack and stack, and there's the award recipients, which are the creme de la creme, if you will, and they're afforded some additional recognition on stage at the event. So it's just fun to see. It's awesome to see hard work get recognized.
Do you have a favorite event that you participate in every year, Ellie, that's representative of what Werner does and how much they appreciate their I almost said students, their employees?
So I do love the gala. I was definitely sad when we didn't have it from
The COVID year.
times. Yep. And we do a company picnic as well at Werner Park, where we allow associates to come out and have a good time. I mean, there's events focused on associates throughout the year where they can bring their families, and families are welcome. And then I host an event called the Werner Games, which is like a 2-month long.
The Olympics?
Kind of,
Yeah, okay.
People hear about those, and that drives a whole bunch of engagement, and not necessarily appreciation as much, but it does give associates the chance to spend time with other associates who they might not work with on a regular basis. Anytime you can grow your network within, the 4 walls of where you work, you feel like you've grown your network within your whole life, which is a really cool thing that you get to have from participating in events and bringing your whole self to work.
You mentioned Werner Park, and obviously that's Marty's a friend of the show. He's been in that chair right there to do this podcast previously. How did that all come about, and what does that partnership mean to the Werner company?
So we love the partnership. Selfishly, as a father of a couple young boys,
Sure.
right? I love taking. It's a phenomenal ballpark, and it's very fun to get to go over and watch the Storm Chasers. Period. How it came about, I don't know the relationship other than we are the
Because
title.
it was
the title name
really
sponsor.
quickly Werner Park. As soon as that facility was, I think before it even broke ground, it was named Werner Park, if I'm not mistaken. I'm
We
pretty
should
sure.
have Marty back and ask him.
We can. I should have had him come in for
You
this
should
interview.
have. Yeah.
Marty, if you're listening, text me.
Yeah. And we offer associates, tickets and the opportunity to go to games anytime that there is. I know Adam's a big sports fan, and the soccer team plays there as well. And I know those union soccer games are really popular. And we just love to know that our associates are getting, even further benefits of being an associate with us.
Since you're a big sports fan, this has been bugging me, and I've got to.
It's actually sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Very sarcastic.
Okay, all right, never mind. I'll ask you.
Sports fan though.
Do you know who Derek Carr is, the Saints quarterback?
Yes.
The same person, right? I mean, you guys look exactly alike.
It's the second time I've heard that.
Yeah.
I actually had to Google it the first time.
I did a double take when you walked in here.
I think he needs to have a helmet on probably to do the comparison, but
we'll Google a picture after this. We'll put it out.
Good luck finding one that fits.
We're catching up with Allie John and Adam Cassidy from Werner Enterprises here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside of the Pyramid Contractors studio. When we talk about the ideal client, or excuse me, not the ideal client, the ideal employee for Werner Enterprises, what does that look like?
Somebody that's willing to show up and work hard, right?
Sure.
We make a big point. Our CEO has made a big point of bring your whole self to work, whoever your whole self is, but show up and work your tail off, and you have a home at Werner Enterprises. And that's true through and through. That's been true my entire almost decade at the company, and I'm sure that you would say the same.
Agreed. Yes. Every person is going to be ideal if they are willing to show up, work hard, and feel comfortable enough. I always love an engaged person who's going to participate and volunteer and be, a part of our Werner community. Yeah. But I also know that people have things going on that don't allow for that. And I think both are welcome. The more you want to do, though, the more you can do, for sure.
If Adam is going pro and taking snaps in the NFL, how quickly are you, Allie, going to make your pro debut in sand volleyball?
Yeah, I could do it.
Okay,
yeah,
we have people in the comments asking, so I thought I would throw that out there.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how small Omaha is? It wasn't Chad, by the way, so shout out to Chad, whoever Chad may be. When we talk about the future and the growth, specifically in the Omaha area, where does Werner want to grow the city of Omaha and grow their campus? That's right across the street from our studios.
I think growing the city of Omaha, growing within would be, there's always opportunity for us to expand, whether that be where we volunteer and how we make a community impact, to just always feeling like there's new opportunities for us to gain customers or gain opportunity at any given moment.
Adam, some question.
I think that, you talk about growing the business, right?
If we're talking like 5 years down the road.
Yeah. More of the good that we have going on now is where I want to see us, right? So, the one thing I've got written down here that I really want to make shine. So we talked a little bit about some of the charitable giving that we've done, and I think there's a whole nother charitable giving story that is the number of volunteer hours that we do as an organization, and that's true not only in Omaha, but also across our full service terminals that are 10 different states, 12 different facilities. We're a national presence, and thousands upon thousands. Do you know the number? I don't have the number offhand.
I don't have the number offhand.
Thousands upon thousands of volunteer hours every year, and that's for every cause under the sun. So we talked about my military service. 50 Mile March Foundation is something that we're very close to. There's 7 of us walking from the organization, and probably a small army of a couple hundred people that are supporting us at Werner through that. And I think that over the next 5 years, we've grown that process, or that giving back to our local community, incrementally over the last 5 years.
Sure.
And I want to see us grow that even further in Omaha, but also across the U.S. Over the next 5 years.
If somebody out there is trying to maybe reach out to Werner to help be involved with one of their causes, or if Werner can help in some way, where can people go to kind of request to be sponsored by or benefit from Werner?
Yeah, they can reach directly out to me at ajohn@werner.com. That's completely fine. Happy to.
There's an H in there.
Yeah,
JOHN.
Yep. Happy to vet any of those. Our donations go through a committee. The committee makes a decision on what that looks like. What's the actual impact? We review everything about our 501c3 organizations, including how much of their dollars are actually going towards programming or helping those in need. That's a really important assessment that we can use to say, yes, this is a valuable organization. They're going to take our money, however much that might be, and use it towards what they claim the cause is. And that's really important to us. And then, I'm happy to hear about any of them. I can also connect if you need volunteers or you're looking as an organization to do volunteer work. And happy to help.
We're kind of hitting that half-hour mark, and we've spent a lot of time talking about both of your professional athletic careers. So I want to ask, is there anything about Werner Enterprises that we haven't mentioned yet that our listeners should know about? Not everybody all at once. We've hit on just about everything, and if that's enough, that's great.
We have hit on quite a bit. When I got out of the military, this is exactly the company I was looking to work for. And I didn't know I was going to be in the trucking space, didn't know I was going to be in Omaha, Nebraska. But
I don't mean to cut you off. Does it feel like you are? Because I feel like when you talk about it, like you guys are obviously a trucking company, but it feels so much bigger than that. Does it feel like you work for a trucking company?
No, so our CEO probably would give me grief about saying a trucking company.
Sure.
Right.
Because it is Werner Enterprises.
We're in the customer service industry.
Yep.
And we can, regardless of the need for the customer, there's probably a way that we can serve them. But all that to say, I didn't think I'd be in this space. Mm-hmm. And now, 10 years later, heck, a year after I came, I knew this was my home. I'm not going anywhere. This is where I want to be. This is a phenomenal company. And if you're interested in joining, look us up. I'm sure there's a hole.
Allie, is the Jersey Shore calling you back?
No, and it's not because of that. It's actually Nebraska that I would call home. I did my master's in Lincoln, and I left for a while. And, I left, and I thought to myself, man, if I ever had the opportunity to come back, I would come back. And this opportunity fell into my lap, and I feel extremely lucky. I would say that we do anniversary awards. We call them Wernerversaries. And we recognize those milestones, 5, 10, 15, 25, et cetera. I did some of that for a period of time. And the number of 40-year anniversary gifts
incredible.
That we ordered, 40 years is an amazing sentiment and statement to why we are who we are and why we are, unapologetically ourselves, because people will stay with us for 40 years.
That almost happens never nowadays.
Spend their whole career at Werner and hopefully love every minute of it.
Sure. All of this information can be found at the web address that's scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now, www.werner.com. Allie, Adam, thank you so much for being here today. We greatly appreciate it. We'll be back. Keep an eye on social media. We're going to list the people that are going to be visiting us next week. There's one really big one you're going to want to keep an eye out for. Not that Werner Enterprises wasn't a huge deal, so we appreciate you guys being here. But keep an eye on all the Spotlight Omaha socials. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you Monday at 11 here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio.